The Department of Justice had one job: release the Epstein files while protecting the victims. They failed, spectacularly. This week, the DOJ admitted it accidentally exposed the names, addresses, and even nude photographs of dozens of Epstein's victims, including minors. They blamed it on technical or human error. But for nearly 100 survivors, the damage is already done. Their identities are out. Their lives have been turned upside down. And the government says it's sorry. I'm James Hartwell. This is Unsealed. On January 30th, 2026, the Justice Department released over 3 million pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. They said they had over 500 attorneys review the files. They said 40 specialized lawyers did a second pass. They promised that victim information would be protected, but within hours, victims and their lawyers started finding their own names in the documents. The Wall Street Journal reported that 43 survivors were left completely unredacted. More than 24 of those were minors at the time of their abuse. Their home addresses were visible. Their email addresses were exposed. And according to the Associated Press, nude photographs showing the faces of potential victims were published, completely uncensored. The DOJ pulled thousands of documents offline this week, but by then, the files had already been downloaded, shared, and archived across the internet. The Justice Department is blaming technical or human error, but the failures go deeper than that. Reporters from the Associated Press found that in some cases, a name was redacted in one document, but left completely visible in another version of the same file. In other places, the redaction bars weren't fully blacked out. You could still read the text underneath. And in some PDFs, you could simply double-click on the redacted text to reveal what was hidden. This wasn't a sophisticated hack. This was basic incompetence. 500 attorneys, 2 rounds of review, and they still couldn't get it right. U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton wrote in a letter to the court that the department has now revised its protocols. Documents flagged by victims are being pulled down and reviewed before being reposted, ideally within 24 to 36 hours. But for the victims whose information is already out there, a revised protocol means nothing. A group of Epstein survivors released a statement this week, and they're furious. They wrote, "This latest release is being sold as transparency, but what it actually does is expose survivors. Once again, survivors are having their names and identifying information exposed, while the men who abused us remain hidden and protected." They called it a betrayal, and they're right. The whole point of these releases was supposed to be accountability for Epstein, for Maxwell, for anyone who helped them. Instead, the only people being exposed are the victims. The powerful men in these files, their names are out there, but they face no charges, no consequences. Meanwhile, survivors are being re-traumatized by their own government. This isn't just about a mistake. It's about priorities. The DOJ had years to prepare for this release. Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act with a clear deadline. And when that deadline came, the government rushed out millions of pages without properly protecting the people who were hurt most. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said this week that the review is now complete. He said it's unlikely anyone else will be prosecuted. So let's be clear about what just happened. The Justice Department exposed dozens of victims, announced that no one else will face charges, and called it a day. That's not transparency. That's a cover-up dressed as compliance. 3 million pages, hundreds of powerful names, and the only people paying the price are the survivors. If you want to understand how we got here, who Epstein really was, who protected him, and how he died in the most secure jail in America, watch our full investigation series. The links are in the description. Subscribe to Unsealed, because these files were sealed for a reason.